I have a really good friend of mine who's a exquisite cellist, just top-notch, top-tier kind of cellist. And, well, I'm not, but I'm on that spectrum of professional players. And it's funny, all of us, I would think, I'll have to ask this friend of mine, can forget to do some of the most basic fundamental things. I looked at these videos I just made today and I'm like, oh my gosh, on the A string my bow is so crooked. And I think sometimes we play in a place and we don't want to open up on the A because we're going to poke someone because we're playing an orchestra all the time. And cellists just require more room. And when we're in a pit and we're like, oh my gosh, I have to play like that. So I'm going to start on my A, and I'm going to look back on this video later and make sure I'm really going across the string straight on the A string. Mr. Haber, I loved Michael Haber, my teacher extraordinaire. He did all these bow exercises religiously every day, and I'm thinking, this is the summer where I need to come back to basics. Because if you notice, if I do up bow and down bow staccatos, every single place in the bow really should be a different quality of balance because my arm is changing the distance to where hair has contact to string. So that is straight on the A string, and I apologize in these videos published earlier today. I'm not going straight across the string at all, and I'm hearing my tones suffer for that because just as I was talking to this student, we care about what we do. We don't always care enough about how we do it. And I'm somebody who cares about that a lot, and there I am messing up. So a lot of my videos are me messing up and confessing that I'm messing up. And, you know, I'm confessing that I love you. Yeah, that's Samara Joy. Oh my gosh, but you need to go hear Samara Joy. But I'm confessing that I'm messing up. So then maybe when I connect the dots, I live in hope when I look at this video later, that my bow is more straight on the A string. That's the string I am most egregious about not being straight across on my A string. Oh my gosh, that's our oboe string, as I use this as an analogy. The A string of the cello is like the oboe. The D string is the English horn string. So when I play an excerpt, that Tchaikovsky symphony, that melody, that obviously it is not in D major at all. No. So that just sounded more like a moment of Charles Ives. And of course, with all of my Sinfonia students and other students, we're always talking about trajectory. And I want to be playing cello in a way that it's me playing the cello. I'm not being affected and trying to hold my body up. And oh, that just puts so much pressure on my ribcage. I have a student that twists, and a lot of students that have over the years twisted their torso. And then on C string, I got the option to just let the cello. Janos Starker talked about that. And of course, Michael Haber studied with Janos Starker. A number of my cello teachers over the years studied with Janos Starker. So if I'm on the C string for a long time, I can just let the end pin take the cello so that I'm not worried about going to the A. Because if I went to the A right now, I'd have to be like that on the A string. That would be awful. But by letting the cello just move, if I had like Shostakovich, which is a heavier, and if I'm not being a method actor, but I'm trying to do my best, but also create that mood of, by doing that. That's that, you know, that's some of the most spooky cello music, you know. Ooh, that's fun. I can tell I haven't done that for a while. I am talking at the same time. And of course, talking about contact point, that violin guy that says why pros sound good and you don't, you know, because it has to be just that right balance of energy and bow placement and speed, and that you want to have as much speed as you can and not overdo weight so you don't cap Captain Crunch, which most young students do. They sound like Captain Crunch because they're pressing too hard. And pressure, you use the word pressure, and I like to think of it coming in and out more like hula. So I'm going to check on that A string, and hopefully I am going straight across, because we used the Shostakovich as a great example, and I talked about Stephen Isserlis, how he's just noticing and looking around when he plays. I mean, those are some of the greatest cellists. Wendy Warner is so fantastic. Stephen Isserlis, you're going to get really good. That Guy Lard, woman who just Baroque things, Anna Bilsma, they have such consistency in their playing, and other cellists are awesome too. I'm like Yo-Yo Ma, and I just love what he's done. You find out who are the cellists that resonate with me, and that they have really consistent quality of performance. So here, if I'm on the A string, instead of having the cello like this for the C string, and I'm on doing Shostakovich, if I'm on the A string, we're doing something like the Swan, I'm not going to use my Shostakovich hands. I'm going to be more pulling the sound up and out and letting it be on the down bow, maybe more on the A string side of whatever the string is, and then more on the C string side of the string, so it has that kind of neat elliptical fashion. I might use that more for, the Swan for sure. Certainly not my best Swan on the planet, but it's the quintessential cello piece. And when you're familiar with kind of woolly animals, you realize, oh my gosh, this one's dying. Or some cellists. Of a Gothic pulse enough, and you need to have a sense of do-do-dee-do-dee-do when you play that. But it's just interesting how we can create different moods, but that doesn't mean I have to stop feeling my breathing. I want to feel and be aware of my breathing as I play, or as I play and create the character, but not at the price of shoving my body around and potentially being heard in a concerto 20 to 30 minutes later. If I'm not feeling what I'm doing and I practice those kinds of things, that could be very detrimental. So continuing to feel, to not take energy, to shout out awareness is so imperative. And open strings, not just at the beginning of our practicing, but interspersed while we practice, can be so beneficial. And doing those, can I do up bow and down bow staccato straight? And then can I connect the dots and have freedom in my whole sense of my body as I play? Bow a little closer to the bridge, because when I use that slower bow speed, I can go closer to the bridge and I can tap into that sense of that richer, deeper, I hardly have to work to create that much kind of sound. It's one of the best warm-ups that you can do on your cello, but don't have it be torturous, like I have to do this and do so many bow clicks, and then it's just torture instead of a curious exploration. We don't have to torture ourselves with a metronome. We don't have to torture ourselves with etudes. If you have an etude of any kind, even that etude that is really well known, you shouldn't sound less than your best just because it's an etude. This is always nice to add. So you can see as I'm doing it under tempo. If I'm someone that knows shifts, and I learn it on the D string like this, I can shift to the A, do an extension, and shift a fourth position. I took a little pause there. When I'm practicing, I will sometimes be less metronomic and more about feeling how I play, rather than being worried about being with a metronome. But then, that's practicing, but then when I want to do performing, I will be in the pocket of the pulse. And hopefully enjoy. Because if you're not enjoying it, that's a choice. We forget that we've forgotten to choose. No, that made me mad. No, you chose to be mad, and you chose to be mad so many times that it's become a habitual choice. I can always choose peace and calm and joy. I don't always remember because I don't always keep feeling my breathing when I play or when I'm doing anything. And then, I had this great student, and Max, years and years ago, and he's an adult now. And at the end of his lesson, he wanted to dance around while I did a saute version. I'm not sure if I can do that today. Let's try it. Oh God, I can tell I haven't done that in a long time. The G major chord. Oh, I could have shifted early. So sometimes in that slow to fast transition, if you're doing, I could shift early, and that shows up when you do it faster. The reason I did it with all those shifts, so if you're a cellist and you want to play with a violinist, you can do it with those shifts in the violin key and shift early, so whatever tempo they choose, you can play along, And I can tell it's been years since I've done that, but it's all in there because of decades of having practiced that. And I think as teachers, I remember my last lesson with my undergraduate teacher when she said to me, I have to work so hard to have all of these pieces ready for you every week. And I thought about it and I went, oh my gosh, if she would have only, yes, prepared like that, because that's a good idea to prepare like that. But if she would have let her hair down and just said, you know what, this is tricky for me to keep underhand. I make mistakes like you make mistakes. I'm not afraid to show my students that I can make mistakes. And this is how I practice so I don't make mistakes. And this is how I practice so that you can do what is my best right now. And my best, I hope, keeps getting better, which so far it does, which is when I play a concert, I say, do you know what? It was better than the last time I played Beethoven's Second Symphony than decades ago when I played it in the 1980s when I was in college. Our best playing should be getting better. We should keep besting ourselves if we're playing from principles of playing. And I'm gonna make more videos and just not always post them, but make sure I'm really doing what I ask my students to do. Physician, heal thyself. It's in Luke. It's a good chapter to read. I believe it's chapter 4. Whether you're a Christian or not, it's good information. Because it's just about life wisdom. And your best religions, when they're not getting to let's beat up on other people, are just basically trying to help us live kinder, gentler, more empathetic lives so that we help other people. That's me. And I hope that's more people on the planet if anybody else happens to watch this. So good wishes in your practicing. I need to apply and be humble enough to say, hey, oh my gosh, I tell my students to do this, I should be doing that myself. And when I don't, catch myself on it and humbly say, look, I need to practice better on my A string so that my bow isn't like that. And it's really opening up enough at the tip, and that I'm really just using the bow. The weight of the bow is an awful lot of sound. And I don't want to press that is the biggest gift that Michael Haber gave to me, that I don't have to press, which means you don't need as high of a bridge, which means that your fingers and everything can balance so much better and more easily, and you can feel like you're just singing out of your cello vocal cords. Oh my gosh, that's enough. Bye.